Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hello and welcome to IMP's AEW Adventures podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Help the network out by leaving us a 5-star review, give a donation directly through Red Circle, and become one of the amazing community by joining the Social Suplex Discord. A link is in the description. Read the Social Suplex newsletter. Shout out to Trish and Tim as always, and to every person who's contributed so far. Follow Rich on his YouTube journey. Listen to the other top-notch shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network: One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Trish and Sarah, Tunnel Talk, Sam Brown's AEW Match Guide, and Joshing Around. My name is Matt Maher, aka Imp. This is your quick look back at the AEW week that was. 30 minutes of yet another really high quality week of AEW wrestling. The streak they are on at the moment, it really is contesting the best that they've put out beforehand. For me, really, it does just feel like this is a much stronger put together vision overall for the entire show compared to like past eras. Because I think I've said for a while now that I was just expecting the honeymoon period to finish and I would just start to be a bit more critical at some point, but nope. Whenever that was meant to happen just isn't happening, and I'm really enjoying my AEW product right now. Like 2026 has just been hitting a stronger and stronger stride, which is really impressive, bubbling towards All In a really impressive manner. And now we've got the Forbidden Door sidetrack, so we'll get to enjoy some foreigners coming over. That's the point of Forbidden Door, right? What's behind the Forbidden Door? It's just foreigners, isn't it? But also, this is an Englishman on World Cup week, figuring out how the hell I'm going to watch these matches. They kick off at like 9pm, 11pm, 2am. These are not good times. I'm not watching these games live. Sorry to the Scottish listeners, but I'm not staying up to watch Scotland-Haiti. I'm watching that the next day. Actually, I shouldn't have said that. Don't message me anything about that happens in these matches. I'm still recovering from Tupac being in the next Ryugo Gotoku game. Like, what? Why is he in this? Snoop Dogg told me it just felt right, but I'm like, in what way? I don't understand. Anyway, we have a Dynamite and Collision this time. Nice and simple show to get through. But my God, the hype that Dynamite ended with, and I really enjoyed the main event for Collision as well. Putting these Owen Cup matches in the main events is just leave me feeling so good. It just put me in such a good mood afterwards. So let's get to Wednesday first. Let's do Dynamite. Let's not babble on too long. Starting with the AEW Championship opening the week. With everything that happened, it's almost like, oh yeah, we opened with MJF Roosh. It's like, it wasn't just the end of the shows that was great. Dynamite for me was so solid, and I've been so praising Dynamite since, I guess, Darby Allin's win. They've just been on a hot streak that entire time. Like, I'm not saying it was crap before it, because it's been the entirety of 2026, really since the C2. They've just been on this such incredible hot streak, but it really felt like it picked up with that life that was just injected into the show with Darby Allin's reign, and it's not let up since. Like, every single week it's kept that hype. It's been incredibly exciting, even with Darby having his sleep. He'll return soon. He's having a nap. He deserves it. But yes, Dynamite started with MJF versus Roosh in a no countouts match, so let's go on and let's play a sound clip from MJF Roosh and then we'll get talking about it.
Look at the Roosh! In space! In space! The challenger defiant as MJF continues to crank, and that is it. Roosh goes out. The referee stops the match.
Before we get to the action, Roosh got a cold open promo with Renee, properly hyping up what this main event title match means to him. Friedman stepped up and things quickly bubbled over, cutting away to the show pyro with, did I do sound effects? Probably not. With Excalibur letting us know the match is now no countouts. And again back to Roosh backstage, because Andrade had one final hype for the man in a show that people like us can be world champion. A message that's both hyping up Roosh and also, because it's Andrade, hyping up himself. I love it as like a little hit baddie note for Andrade, where he's like, you're not going to win, but I want Tony Khan to believe a Mexican man could win, so I get a shot. That's how I read it. Like, sure, he's trying to amp up his fellow Ingo Bernabele. Sure. Sure, that's how you could read it. Not that Rush needs any help getting into that insane level of intensity he seems to always operate at. And that's why I absolutely love the booking idea of putting him in a match with Orange Cassidy. Just really highlight how intense Rush is by putting in the laziest sloth man. Just put him in there as well. Rush, he still goes at that intensity. But it was proper dickhead mode for the champion, dressed as a matador to insult the Mexican bullman, and got Justin Roberts to say not nice things during his intro. He took out your hero Hangman so he can never challenge for this title ever again. Max has been mentioning Hangman loads on interviews and social media, now on the television as well, just reminding you that he's not here. And you people put the Virgin in Virginia. Of course, it's the go-to. It's the go-to one. You've got to do it. I said last week about how fired up and intense Rush's wrestling style is, but here there was a whole reason to lean into that. The whole first act, just him stomping all over Max, diving out onto him, tossing him into barricades, launching him into the timekeeper's table. Our match turning though in the form of an exposed turnbuckle and a bit of a Mexican headblood. Cheeky times with Bryce went badly for MJF too, his head also going into that turnbuckle. Now we had an amped, intense Rush, all bloodied and hitting a lovely dropkick flying from on high. Our first This Is Awesome of the night, after an apron ball headbutt from Rush, even got to pile drive the bell end as our ad break lead. Returned just in time for a charging corner dropkick and cheeky baddie rope break save. Went for it again, but now his arm was too hurty, and Rush was operating in giant wrestler rules, where his own charges were his own downfall. And it was an amazing spot. Charging dropkick just exploded the barricade, prepped so perfectly with such a loud sound on the collision. Pile driver from Max this time onto the barricade, now that was on the floor. Both men started to recover going, for Max's left knee, Rush's left shoulder, a perfect excuse for a fighting spirit goody amping. Uh-oh on the flying dropkick though, dodged by Max and another great bit with the left arm trapped as Freeman locked in the crossface, meaning that Rush's head was turned a bit and the man just gave him such a look and middle finger with his free hand before passing out. I just love that. He's such an intense wrestler where he just gives one more part of intensity before just fading away. I love that. I love that for the way the Rush character would lose. It just makes a lot of sense. MJF retains, as always a good sport, setting up to strike his opponent with the belt. Reach for the sky, boys. It's Mark Briscoe. Lined up Mark Briscoe next and the conglomeration saved, including a Tomohiro Ishii return given the gravitas of, oh look, Tom's here. It's the same on Collision. There's not much attention brought to him. He's just standing there in the background, and as you watch him go, oh, Tom's there. That's it. I know it's Forbidden Door season, but yeah, no big announcement like that. I wouldn't even mind it if Orange Cassidy at some point just goes, when did you get back? Like if he doesn't realise Tom's even returned or anything. Later in the show, Max was in a big metal bath and he made it very clear his answer to Mark Briscoe is still no, for all the reasons stated last week. But yes, a really good match to open the show. For me, I really liked with Rush how this pairs with the match that he won last week in that four-way. But in that four-way, it just really was highlighted, just that level of intensity that his character has when he wrestles. And then here they gave Freeman being an absolute dick, and it's like a reason for him to be that level of intense. And it is that intensity that cost him in the end. You know, giant wrestler rules where he's just going to charge into something and hurt himself, be it the ring post, be it the barricades or something. Big wrestlers only have two weaknesses. It's running into things and getting kicked in the dick. And that's it. There is no in between. You're not going to beat them any other way. But at least in this case, Rush showed a bit of head blood after doing one of said charges, so you know. But yeah, I thought this was a stellar way to open the show and really did set the tone for it as well. It was a show where it had this hot opening with this, then for me just bubbled really nicely until we got to the main event, which was just something special. If you are tired and you watch this show, by the end of it, you are just on the edge of your seat. You are amped. It's like you were never sleepy at all. Anyway, we'll get to Will Ospreay later. I'm English, so I have got to, it's legally required for me to get that amped about an Ospreay match. Let's do the other notes first. Tekla walked out through the crowd with her spooky gals behind her. What's up, stupid bitches? Now getting a cheer. Because of course it does. Tekla's awesome. And it wasn't the only great promo of the night. Just loved how these get more unhinged from Tekla by the week as her champion's confidence grows. At least that's how I'm reading it. Reminded us about the past beef between her and Stardom, before making it clear with Blue and Hart bringing a ladder out for her to climb and spit on the Stardom logo. I am not declaring war on Stardom, I am declaring death to Stardom. There we go. That's the exact shit I was hoping for after last week. Well, I was saying, I just hope it's a big name from Stardom for Tekla. Really have their first proper involvement in Forbidden Door be a big match, with a big name, whoever it is. And this is the perfect setup for it. I've got my mini list of people, and I'm not currently watching Stardom, so I don't really know any names like at the top of people's list as to be like a surprise name other than like the established people. The Dogs backstage with Renee, jabbing about beating up Cope and Christian, then the Guns. Fully lent into the 5-second stuff with Bruise and Kazoos. So silly, but arguably just a primer for Nick Jackson's Who Let the Dogs Out? Who? The Bucks made a challenge, but it was a nay from Finney and Connors for now. We got a little bit more on Collision regarding that. Don Callis and Okada also with Renee. Got to talk about how amazing the family is. Now with another champion in the family, with Mark Davies in the main event. New riches for everybody. Okada told Takeshita he'll be coming back for his international championship. I'm not always a fan of, the previous champion, he's going to get the rematch for it, style of booking. But when the matches are this good, you can afford to do another one. We got a replaying of Ciampa's attack on Jericho and a great list bit from Collision. Transitioned into him alone backstage, jabbering to camera about Jericho not being here again, and we got more Tommaso Ciampa on Collision. Mark Briscoe versus Lio Rush. What a unique pairing. To be fair, this is on me. Be careful what you wish for, kicking in as everybody standing still so Lio wouldn't see them was exactly what I called for. It's just during his entrance, just on the ramp, just completely motionless. It's like, yes, I asked for it in a match where it would obviously just be right there in the spotlight and probably not work, but there's just this as a bit. Crowd are chanting Leo's name though, like, this gimmick is over. Even when he was whispering sweet nothings into Mark's ear and the Delaware man sold it all open-eyed, like, this fellow is all sort of strange. Just such a silly match from the start, and that feline prowl around the ringside gets such an amazing reaction yet again. Kung Fu pose from Lio got his opponent all like, that's my thing. Fast-paced roof times as we neared the end. Nay Foggy Bow finish for Leo's actually light enough for Briscoe to hoist up onto his shoulder. Excalibur called it the cutthroat driver, like an inverted head-trapped Death Valley driver thing. After the match, grabbed the mic to talk about his brother, about how he made his debut in AEW 1 week after his brother's passing on his brother's birthday. This was one hell of a promo. I thought he absolutely nailed this. Just that folding in of a very real emotion into a very not real wrestling feud. I thought this was done massively here by Briscoe. AEW was how he vented, how he got his anger out, but he still couldn't find joy. Then he found his conglomeration friends, he had his brothers again, and he found that joy in being a professional wrestler. And that's where he passed paths, Max. Tied it all together so damn well. I felt that anger coming. I've never hated someone as much as I've hated you. All that rage came back to the surface. He was just pacing backwards and forwards as he delivered these, staring right into the cameras, talking to Max. You call yourself the devil, that's cute. You got the camera to zoom in on a chest tattoo. That says, Son of God. So, Big Hebrew. I don't know if you've read the book, but you lose. Like, what a promo. So fucking good. Tied everything about Mark Briscoe's character together into his hatred for Max so damn masterfully. I thought this was amazing. Because it is a job to convince me, is Mark Briscoe MJF again worthy of being on a pay-per-view when you're getting these TV title defences? And this is the sort of thing where if you tie it all together so masterfully that you just bring out that emotion, it's like, well yeah, I'm emotionally invested now. And on a big Forbidden Door card where you got your attraction matches all over the place, you could easily slot this in. Sometimes the AEW Championship match on the pay-per-views does fall into the background, so if you've got an emotional tie to it, then that can just elevate it so much more. But in terms of convincing me that this match deserves to be on a pay-per-view, this promo absolutely nailed it. It's no doubt in my mind now. It's folded it all together so damn well, it has to be on the show. Andrade so confident he immediately went over to the front row selfie, taking his coat off during his entrance. Spinning elbow ended the jobber fast, but El Idolo was sending a message, so lifted the fellow up for the DM2, grabbed the mic after and ragged on MJF. He really wants the AEW World title, but you think you can beat me? How you know? Don Callis and Jake Doyle out to back up their man. Actually, they came out to announce the newest member of the Don Callis family, the Jet, Kevin Knight. Yes, all the men, more men, and I love this with Don Callis' character where he's got this agreement with MJF. Andrade will not challenge him for it. It's part of the agreement. But instead of being upfront with Andrade about it, he's just doing distractions. So when it looks like he's got to maybe say something to Andrade, he just goes, this is what's going to fix it. Kevin Knight's a part of our group now. Isn't that amazing? Another champion. Like the master of distraction, until the wrestlers start to see through it like Takeshita did. And so every single time Andrade gets struck down, it is building up and amping. And Takeshita needs maybe a partner. So if not doing Proto Sheeta, somebody needs to be with Takeshita. And yes, he got conglomerate friends, but Takeshita and Andrade versus Okada and Fletcher. But I'm not against it. But seeing how this is bubbling, this is a slow bubble, so it doesn't feel like the time is going to be quite right to do that tag match, unless Okada and Takeshita just goes on forever. Kevin Knight got the cocky champion's entrance, Andrade shaking his head in non-approval, and there was no hanging about, straight into it, Mike Bailey's entrance. For the TNT Championship, Kevin Knight versus Speedball Mike Bailey, and you know Kevin's a baddie now, because he's wearing black tights. A heated, angry lockup, now Kevin able to take breathers, slipping to outside to Chingwan with Don Callis, bubbled around ringside with Bailey getting the cheers for his springboard spin back off the ropes, teased in-ring fun, but we went to the ad break with Kevin Knight's baddie stompings and tossed them right back out. A "you sold out" chant gave Knight a beat to mug at the crowd and give Bailey an in, and bloody hell, what an in that was. Dodging each other's swings, but an amazing spot with Mike reading Kevin to jump to avoid a low sweep and instead just swung with a kick. It was so fucking good. It looked amazing. Then the inverse idea with both set to springboard from the apron into the ring, but Knight faked out, which led to Bailey just running over and punching him, which itself had Knight in position to hit that incredible springboard forearm to the outside. And I love the way they both sold that as a more brutal, amped up thing to hit rather than some flashy athleticism as it was beforehand. Built up so well when back in the ring, Bailey's double knees ended one stretch brutally. Knight heads this to a ropes at Bailey, ended another beautifully. Our second "this is awesome" of the night during the rapid back and forth closing flow. Another roundhouse clocked and had Knight Knight rocked to be set up in the corner. Now we saw why Knight really linked up with the Don Callis family. In spite of his cocky fronting, he wasn't confident he could beat Bayley by himself. Went for a mighty pylon from on high, mucked up with Bayley's back taking all of the brunt of it. All Knight could do was roll through with the momentum. Thankfully it appeared Mike didn't land too high on their back. Uranagi from Knight for the win. Hit with enough oomph that you're not really questioning it, that you're not really dwelling on what happened beforehand. And he got to pose and whatnot. Nothing after, there's no beating of Bayley after. Just moving on with our first example of Kevin Knight in the Don Callis family. The Women's Owen Cup first round, Alex Windsor versus wildcard Mercedes Moné. Pyro budget blown and all, the surprise Mercedes is back. And uh-oh to my Owen and all-in predictions. Mercedes with a new theme that our very own Rich Latter worked on. He's put a video up on his YouTube channel as well talking about creating it. Windsor in Osprey-like white, green and gold fancy robe and gear, but I didn't like her chances. Suddenly the women's tournament has a heavy favourite in Mercedes. During the ad break, a beat of quiet for the returned last to go. I went to therapy. I'm good, just to let us know she's not good. She may be back, but she's still not quite stable. She's still not quite back yet. Virginia were just up to seeing Monet perform all the hits. Booze for Windsor, she blocked the third of the three amigos. A back and forth flash sequence in the end. Crucifix pin, not enough for Windsor. Out of it, Monet immediately with a stiff knee, backbreaker and statement-making submission win. Turns out Alex Windsor will not in fact be winning at All In because she's from here. They've got something bigger. And it has somewhat felt like there isn't that leading star breaking out in the women's division. It feels like they're rising together with Tekla, but it feels like there's that thing to take it to the next level has kind of been missing. And for me, a lot of it has been down to booking character stuff. Widow getting hurt is a huge deal. Maybe she was one person who was pushed for it, finally going to get a moment with Tekla, but obviously we'll never know. This wildcard situation, so we've got Monet coming back, and she just feels like the heavy favourite. Such a heavy favourite. And I love the angle they do at the end of Collision. We'll get to that when we do Collision. But suddenly, the Owen Cup for the women is alive. And you just look at the road ahead, it's Tekla versus Mercedes. Unless they do something wild and the Stardom person beats Tekla. Because if it's a showcase match, you could do champion versus champion. That could be a cool idea for Forbidden Door. But it could also be a top star who's not a champion challenging Tekla. And if that person were to win, suddenly you got a massive match for Mercedes at All In. And for me, the inverse would be, it's a huge match for Tekla to be wrestling Mercedes at All In. Just to celebrate how great Tekla's first year has been, to cement it off with a match with Mercedes on the biggest stage. And then we get to the main event. The men's Owen Cup semi-final, Will Ospreay versus Mark Davies. And the final line before we went off air. Open your hearts or die. This is AEW. Living free, loud and proud. On Thursday, this was all over my various social medias. A line that really connected at the start of Pride Month. Just putting forward an AEW mission statement. Really, really connected. And then there's the match itself. The former United Empire friends already, that's an amazing match pairing. But with Will's new Death Rider style, this iteration was far more of a clobber. Plenty of ringside walking and tosses in the opening run. Back from break with one hell of a toss out in the corner. Will just let Davies fucking launch him. It was just so good as it is. He was selling for Big Mark. The Aussie made to look like the most awesome bruiser. Ospreay's fight back so full of snap, and Mark's swings just got the crowd so behind the Essex man. The now rarely seen Robinson's special twisty kickspin as well. Flying stomp to Davies' arm set up this new submission finisher, but the bear man fought out and tombstoned Will to death. Excalibur with the whole "this is over" sell, just in case he wanted to be sure that it was in fact not over. The Aussie's vicious lariat's so good, but he went too far teasing a tombstone off the apron. Head scissors reversed, and we got our calm beat before the final storm. Snapped right into the crowd, fully on their feet. Flying dropkick caught the ring entering man. Styles clash and near fall had the crowd in this hyped buzz. Shenanigans! Referee down, Stormbreaker hit but to no count. Trent and El Cologne jumped in so we could have the Death Riders run out to save their man from them. One at a time in to hit their move and then get downed. Then someone else slides in, just a constant momentum of it. Davies went to backdrop pack to end that, but a Will Oscutter coming out said no. The Jake Doyle also says no, pulling out the referee. And who was the next Death Rider to stop? Marina Shafir, who jumped up onto Jake Doyle's back. The big lad tossed her off with an oomph, but Mox running out had the crowd in such a loud state. They were so amped for this. Backflip pack onto all the lads with commentary in full hype mode and the crowd chanting AEW, AEW. But the referee was still down, and the Don Callis family is the most numerous faction. Full story circle with Kyle Fletcher being the last out with a screwdriver in hand. But he got stopped by his current feud in Konosuke Takeshita, bringing their story into this too. Just the momentum of all of this. It's just so impressive. And after all that, Mark Davies picks up the screwdriver, but a hidden blade to knock it out of his hand and a second to the back of the head. The crowd on every beat going crazy after Davies' kick out, thanks to replacement ref Bryce bloody taking far too long. And good lord, the sequence after that just ended in an incredible pile driver. It was just Ospreay swung in, Mark Davies ducked and just hoisted the lad up and just dropped him in the pile driver, and it looked incredible. Absolutely spiked the guy. Then later, Will's backflip rotation into the powerbomb bit instead then rolled through into his new submission finisher. And yes, his submission finisher brought back after all of the bedlam. Tap out win, incredible hype stuff. The absolutely incredible hype of Just everybody running in, and it's just timed so well where it comes to that next thing and he's trying to guess it, and then a different storyline gets folded in and then that gets taken out, and it returns to the action. And the way that it ends is a bit that was set up far earlier before any of this worked. For me, just tied such a nice bow on it. It was so well done. I'm not surprised if this is going to get like all of the ratings, all the stuff. It was so fun to watch. It just felt, it's one of those matches that you just feel so amped after watching it. It's just that ending that just properly wakes you up. Will's wrestling style is always quite energetic and quite amping, but this was something special. It was all the run-ins, but it was the way that the wrestling flowed afterwards and before it as well. Like Ospreay and Mark Davies never really lost the attention on each other, which happens a lot with the interferences where they get sidetracked or whatever. Actually, that's not true. The one time that there was the distraction was when Mark Davies went for Pac and Ospreay immediately caught Davies. So yeah, absolutely incredible. I loved it, then couldn't wait to watch Collision because I'm just so amped after watching that. Like every single week I'm like, well, how are AEW going to continue this streak? Surely at some point we're going to get just a good wrestling show. Like surely this streak of incredible stuff we started as soon as Darby Allin won that title, surely it's got to end at some point. Like maybe during the World Cup Tony Khan will be too busy watching football and just doesn't have the time to pay as much attention. Like something's got to break it. Something's got to break this incredible run. This week wasn't it. I looked at the card and I was like, but generally beforehand I was like, this is a really solid card, but you could also just do some angle storyline stuff, so some of the matches like on as insane hype, but nope, still go for it, still absolutely go for it. We have got the side quest pay-per-view in Forbidden Door, which is meaning that the actual stories that are building, the bigger stuff, are all playing it on TV. Like they're not delaying it to do Out of Forbidden Door. We're just getting like Kevin Knight, Matt Bailey, we just got it on the show. No, like, oh, we've got to do Forbidden Door, so we've got to delay this, we'll just kind of stall the storylines we're doing whilst this side thing happens. Like no, all the side things happening on the television. It's the pay-per-view that's the sidetrack. I really, really like the way that they're tackling this period. So so excited. Proper adrenaline rush wrestling. Just like thing. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Anyway, so that was Dynamite. Collision. Oh, here we go. Collision. This is a good wrestling show. The streak Dynamite it's on is insane. I watched Collision and I was like, this was just a good wrestling show. This is the kind of thing I'm expecting at some point from Dynamite. But yeah, it's still a good card. It's still a strong match. I still really enjoy it. But it's not the level of incredible hype and where I'm just like, God, I love wrestling. I've had that for like, what, 7-8 weeks straight now? I'm just trying to think how long it actually is. That's why I'm like, surely this streak has got to end at some point. Like, as much as I love the ECW arena shows, it did get to a point where I was happy to leave. For me, it was like a novelty where we were there still for like the third week. I was like, okay, we don't need to still be here. This is too many shows in this smaller location. It was a novelty, but the fact we're here and still, like, we can leave now. Anyway, speaking of leaving, that feels like a quite natural transition to leave this show and talk about Collision. Nailed it. Flipping nailed it. And on to Youngstown, Ohio, which is definitely a city I've heard of before. Opening the show again with a title match, this time the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship, Divine Dominion versus TayJay. So let's play a sound clip from that and let's talk about Collision and this. It's a good wrestling show. It's nice to have a bit more calmer, less pressure. I said that last week where it's just a bit of a show with less pressure. So last week was just silly stuff. This week was just a way more standard show. Let's enjoy a standard good episode of TV wrestling.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hit the barricade, the double team, and there it is!
That's it.
1, 2, 3.
Opened the show with the dominant tall women defending against the first team to last in their 5-minute gimmick match. Honestly, I'm just happy this match isn't taking place second to last before the main event, an almost routine, tired crowd telly placement for the women on AEW TV. But nope, the show opener tonight, and the women bookended as well with being in the main event too. I personally quite liked the 5-minute gimmick, but I don't know how you do it after this. Is this just how that the Divine Dominion get their challenges? You have to survive the 5 minutes. Like, it's not dead now that TayJay... Like, it wasn't used as a technique to build up TayJay to their match. match. Because that would be such a shame. Because it's fair to say, for me, the gimmick got far more over than the challengers did. Like, if that was the case, TayJay's challengers just kind of fell a bit flat for me. But the 5-minute bit, oh yes, love it. It's perfect for the tall dominant women. So do you just go back to it now, though, that it's done this? For me, as a device to build up TayJay, didn't work. So that's my main critique. As much as I enjoyed Divine Dominion in their squashes, it absolutely did not work in building up TayJay. They very much needed way more build-up, way more character stuff and momentum before winning their match. Using surviving the 5-minute match to be your reason to get invested, like it wasn't enough. It wasn't in their characters beforehand. They've not been on TV. They need to be on TV far longer than we did. But also, the tall women need their TV challenges, so he's kind of thrown TayJay at them. I do like TayJay. Like Tamino as well, is just one of those wrestlers where every time she wrestles, I'm just reminded, like, oh, I do like you. You are good. There's I don't know if I find a way to describe it, a stiff crispness to her offense that I like. I don't know if that's a statement that contradicts itself. But yeah, there's something about her style that I really like. And this match, we're given the showcase to do it. TayJay given the space to get one over on the champions before the ad break. Corner dives onto both outside for the transition. Different story once we were back. Greeted with a mellow, fucking hell. Like, nice and clear as she got to dodge the cameraman in a hop off the apron, getting knocked off. Just like, move! What are you doing? Right up my arse, move! Big Bane, awesome looking flying clothesline to end a back and forth sequence. But the flow after that was pretty clear cut into the champion's favour and retention without too much difficulty. Anna Jay all alone for that double chokeslam. Divine intervention. I always blank on what it's called. Like, Aussie Lena held Tay off at the ropes for the Megasys to score the win. Like, half-hearted Bill were met with an absolutely okay title defence, and it showcased the champions without troubling too much from the challengers. Like, unfortunately, I'm going to forget this happened. I guess it successfully built up the champions, but it felt so nothing, so lazy, so kind of run-of-the-mill build. Like, the actual wrestlers in the match I like, and they could do something great, but this was just fine. This was just fine. A lot of it not their fault, because it is the build-up to it was just so nothing. The booking was so, but, build up TayJay next time. Actually give him a bit of build-up. I can feel like genuine challengers. Well, as an example, somebody's been given more effort. Shane Taylor versus jobber Alan Angels. And immediately the ribs of Shane Taylor being better than Kenny Omega as he made quick work of Alan Angels, who was a jobber from, 5 years ago? It was Jacksonville COVID era AEW. Alan Angels and Kenny Omega had a relatively long match against him, even though he was a jobber, and the internet kicked up a storm all about it. Shane Taylor here, yeah, no worry whatsoever. A stiff right hand ended a springboard in Allen, package piledriver, and that was that. Again, an opportunity on the mic for Shane Taylor Promotions. For years, the Death Riders have been the most violent group in AEW. All of that changes right now. Shane Taylor promised for their group to challenge for that moniker, and swish into the tag match we swung. Shane Taylor Promotions, The Infantry, and Lee Moriarty versus Death Riders, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac. Shane Taylor commentated for his group's match again. Mox had a whale of a time getting to have a technical wriggle around with the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, but slightly less respectful straight to punches in the corner for Charlie Bravo. Pac and Claudio taking their time and shots at the tattooed man, like it had been clearly labelled who the dickhead who deserved a beating was. Back from break with the Infantry on top with cheeky ringside help from Adora and the other tall woman whose name I might maybe one day learn, but sir, this is not that day. I don't know it. Trish Adora, I know you. Other woman, just not happening. If commentary said her name, it's not going in. And I've decided to not Google it. I'm going to get this name by just watching the show. Will I absorb it? Will it happen? Mox and the ringside riders did their job getting the crowd all amped for that hot tag, but nah, Pac just dragged all the way back. We got more heat to the bill, damn it. And that heat was used in the form of another BBC Corner Bronco. I swear I heard someone in the crowd singing BBC, because of course, of all things, that's getting over as something to chant along with. Of course it is. And it doesn't mean the British Broadcasting Company. Mox and Claudio had none of it though. That cheeky baddie times was enough to swing the match fully into Death Rider amped flow times. The Infantry down and Pac up in the corner. Trish Adora stopped him and the STP ringside assistants came front and centre. Marina Shafir again the one to equalise the female odds. Into just an even more fun version of last week's antics as the Shane Taylor Promotions cheeky villainy was served right back at them. Pac now distracting the referee so the group could do their Stardom faction charges into the corner. Bravo on his back taking the loss and the Death Riders got to do their happy circle dance. After the match, Shane Taylor and Trish Adora were backstage in front of a closed garage door. Yuta on the ground going, he was selling a jumped beating as Taylor made his challenge to a match with Moxley. A match took place and then Mox responded. He wouldn't make the move Shane just made without being absolutely sure. Wednesday, Continental title match. He's going to give Taylor exactly what he asked for. I just love the line about him saying, I'm going to give you what you want, but there is a chance here that you find out you're you're not the man you thought you were. And I just like, such a good line. He's still such a good character with his Continental title. And obviously it's really interesting to get to see his philosophy and everything with Will Ospreay. Now get to see that folded into action through the Shane Taylor stuff. Tommaso Ciampa versus Jobber Beef. Like, my God, these Collision local jobbers just get better every week. Like, beef, chanted after an impressive cartwheel and dropkick from the large gentleman. And yes, good on you, Beef. Full aloha sell for his acting groggy after a stiff knee. Just a kid with an ear going, I just love the wavy arms. I just love it so much. It's stupid. It's stupid, but I love it. Running knee had him dead, but Ciampa needed to send a message. Used Jericho's wall submission to make the lad tap. After the match, sent Mr. Beef ringside and locked in the walls again, while shouting into the Shivani-held microphone to say that he's better than Jericho. The Psycho Killer is waiting for you, Snake. Ciampa for me is just working magic with his Jericho feud. Like, part of me's thinking, as soon as Jericho shows up, I'm not going to enjoy it as much. I'm really enjoying the work that Ciampa's doing. Very quickly establishing himself as someone so reliable that he can work this feud on his own. Clark Connors versus Juice Robinson. Juice all heated to be let loose on the dog. Not that he wasn't silly too, given at one point Juice stopped a ringside shenanigan by lifting his leg to mime peeing on the bottom rope like a doggo. Like, of course he did, Juice. Connors got his own back though, lit a match and then threw it at Robinson. Like, don't worry, he waited till it had gone out, but Ohio still reacted like, what the fuck, lad? What are you doing? And I do realise today every one of my impressions has just been of a very British man. A very British reaction. But obviously that's to me how all people sound. That's how everybody sounds. That's how everyone sounds. Back from break, in a back and forth, and they tried to keep that energy till the end. Right when Juice was on top after a crossbody dive outside, that was when Finlay and his shillelagh ran down. Ineffective at first, but the lad was there, set up, ready for a minute later. Rope running fun times, a sudden shillelagh to the back set Connors up nice and easy for the spear win. And the Bang Bang Boys were all on out, all heated, but the dogs were ready and they ran away through the crowd. And a segment later, Finlay and Connors, they laid out their beef with the Young Bucks. Finlay led the jabber. Connors' contribution was just to say he has a big dick. And then that was pretty much it. Pretty much all he said. Finlay bagged on them and pretty much just set up a match. With a complete turnaround from how he felt on Wednesday. The AEW Trios Championship, the conglomeration versus Los Fashion de Ego Bernable. Tranquillo versus Sloth had this one being unique right out of the gate. Silly fun to begin with, but it wasn't long before Cassidy was getting stomped on by all his opponents. The Ungovernables on top for our Sammy Guevara, Arihara moonsault ad break. Rush's intensity matched Roddy's chops and knees rather deliciously. If any matchup screamed top tier for the C2, it's Rush versus Strong. Guevara, the athletic dum-dum to get caught by O'Reilly. All the super kicks in the world from he and Jalisco couldn't stop Kyle from rebounding off them ropes. Cassidy finally awake for his hot tag, but he didn't have the numbers safety. The others waking up and brawling over ringside with Strong and O'Reilly dumping Rush over the barricade. That's him dealt with. That's the big strong intensity man. That's him taken out of the finish. Left Cassidy to fend off Sammy and Jalisco on his lonesome though. A proper awkward spill off the top for Jalisco, made worse by trying to avoid Guevara. Very quickly after, Cassidy cradled Jalisco up and sneaky sloshed that win. It felt like the planned bit, just maybe done a little bit slower with Jalisco, with them not entirely sure he's definitely okay. After the break, the conglomeration were backstage with Lexi Nair when Trent and Rocky challenged Cassidy to wrestle El Idolo on Wednesday. A man you have never and will never beat. Got met with, how you know. Rocky got very irritated, but that just confused Cassidy into not getting why Rocky and Trent hadn't left yet. Like, go, leave. You've stayed way too long. I need to lie down. Like, why are you still here? Generally didn't understand that. We've done the thing. You can go now. And the main event, the Women's Owen Cup first round, Hazuki versus Persephone. I do like how AEW can have two wrestlers, neither of which are their own weekly featured talent, main event their Saturday telly show. And any Stardom wrestler on telly gives the commentators an excuse to remind us that that's where Tekla what did get fired from. Really got going after the final ad break. Persephone's gory bomb teased at the start of the flow before letting Hazuki get all springboardy bouncy. Magnum TA double knees lung blower out the corner, but the corner flying follow-up instead crashed down via a Mexican superplex. Back to that gory bomb, no veil again, just to remind us we're bubbling to it. But my god, Persephone's German suplex after was fucking beautiful. Lung blower from Hazuki, who then just rolled her opponent up and scored a sudden three. Like, oh, that very much felt like we're doing almost like a list of three, get ready for the gory bomb later thing, and it's either hit or reverse, and that's the finish. No, all plans, things set up, doesn't happen because suddenly you get a three. This match was very much using Persephone still selling, taking a black mist in CMLL, or was it Ring of Honor? It's a match I've not watched. She talked about it on Collision last week, that's how I know. But she was still selling the after effects of that, and the commentary were very strong hitting on it that was the reason that took the loss in the end. She was just clutching that eye, and Big Nige calling that the determining factor. And it was a really strong match, I really enjoyed it. The flow from Hazuki, she was given far more time than I was expecting, but that's because it is a showcase for her to have that bigger match with Monet, who jumped her as a surprise ending to the show. Because Collision can very easily just end after a good match, and we don't need a big angle. But the longer it went on with the niceties, it was like, okay, we don't really know either of these characters that well. So why is the show not just ending? standard. If you're not doing something, why is it keeping going? Mercedes Moné, that's why. The woman's not forgotten about losing her CMLL title to Persephone. Used the Owen Hart title she nabbed on Dynamite to jump and beat down. Hazuki made the save, but turned her back on Mercedes to check on Persephone, so of course she got jumped too. What are you doing, Hazuki? The refs and black shirts came out to split them up, including a Nakazawa sighting. And a lovely final note as Hazuki got the final jump, diving out onto Mercedes and all the black shirt lads. Shivani was running down the card as Hazuki was having to be held back, and Mercedes did such a great job selling that she might have maybe made a mistake here. She thought, oh, she's just a little Japanese woman, I'll beat her up, send my message, and that'll give me an advantage in the match. But then Hazuki was just far more amped, and Mercedes like, oh no, she's actually got crazy in her, and I just love the way that she sold her, that yeah, you keep them back, kind of the way that she sold that. And that brings me to the end of the week. Dynamite left me absolutely amped about wrestling. Collision gave me a good show that kept me invested in all the storylines going on, and also did a great job of making me more invested in the women's side, which has been a bit of a problem because it did feel like a bit of a flat tournament. You looked at that list who was in the women's Owen and you're like, is that what they've got planned for All In? And it kind of does fit the way that the women's divisions felt for a little while, where they haven't really got any plans to properly elevate anyone, so you might as well try these people. Tekla is a great champion with just not great stuff built around her title matches. Her work as champion, great. The work to help elevate the characters around her with the stories just isn't there. It's not existed. But you've got a plug-in emergency Mercedes Moné and brought her back for the tournament, and she's absolutely elevated everything, and suddenly that just screams the match. I did throw out the curveball of what if whoever the Stardom name is, they win, just because it's something. As much as I love the Tekla character, and I definitely would have her go to All In, I was just like, we could propose an idea just to see what if this random sudden out of nowhere thing happens. But also, you can kind of continue a Stardom Tekla story by having Sari win the tournament instead of Mercedes. But Mercedes is the big name, it's All In. I'm going to be excited regardless. Anyway, that brings me to the end. Thank you for listening, liking, engaging in any form, any manner. Always appreciated, never take it for granted. I'll be back this time just next week to talk about the Hollywood film thing, whatever they're calling the show next week. Super film time. I've forgotten what they're calling it. But yes, we've got specials next week with lots of big matches on it. So it's going to be a big special show this time next week compared to this more relatively standard. Collision was like your most standard good TV show, whilst Dynamite was absolute hype. So I can't really say this was like a standard week, but they're on a streak at the moment. Like every single Dynamite has just left you feeling fantastic, and that streak is continuing. So anyway, I will see you this time next week to once again jabber about wrestling to my wall. For me, it's a very different experience. You can imagine me anywhere. You could imagine me in a field, in a hut or something. I am looking at a blank wall. I've got sound pads at least to muffle the sound, so there's something. I'm not just staring at a blank, echoey white wall. There are sound pads. Anyway, tangent. I'll be back this time next week to talk about whatever the name is for the next week's show. I'm tired. Time to end the show. With that, I thank you for listening. Bid you adieu. Ta-ra, duckies. Ta-ra.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.